but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. As a volunteer, you deliver a hot, nutritious meal and a friendly hello to someone just like your mother, grandfather, or next door neighbor. These seniors are inspiring people with incredible stories to share, and they love to see you. The smiles you get back are priceless. Delivering with Meals on Wheels is easy, and you don't have to drive like me for it to be quick. You can volunteer your lunch break once a week or just once a month. With 1 in 6 seniors facing hunger and many more living in isolation, your lunch break can make a real difference. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Little roller up along first. Behind the see you in Pittsburgh. Can't wait. All the baby is out on the field. He's going to go in the field. Looking, throwing in the end zone.
You're tuned into Game On with Josh Silverberg and Eric Bowe. Talking all things sports. It's
Game on!
Yeah, game on.
Game On right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, happy Thursday to all of you. It is 6:05 Eastern Standard Time, live on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. I'm your host, John Silverberg, my co-host, Eric Bowe, on the board, Speedy Petey. You can check us out on worldwidesportsradio.com, YouTube, Instagram, Periscope, Spotify, Apple Podcast. Job on the Mouth have their own TikTok, and so much more. Eric, a lot to get to this evening. How are you, sir?
You know, what a wonderful time in the sports world it is right now. Is it not?
It's all right.
I mean, listen,
Right.
Knicks, Celtics, battling.
They're
Oh,
barreling. I got a guy bleeding yesterday. Yeah, they're literally barreling, all right.
we'll get into that more. Don't you worry. We'll get into that. But there's going to be a lot of fun upcoming in basketball and football.
See how much.
Baseball. There's a lot. You know what? We should have a show and talk about it, Josh. What do you think?
I think that sounds like a wonderful idea. Speedy, how you doing?
It's as usual, but
Oh, my God. You want everyone to come in here and smack you? I ask you how you are. And the first thing, busy as usual.
it's a lot to cram.
Oh
You don't
my
want him
God.
to lie to you, right?
No, I do, actually. That would be better for him and for all of us.
Yeah, you're right.
I have a magic potion where I'll be able to lie at any time.
All right, well, that's the end of that conversation, and we're going to get right to our show, ladies and gentlemen. Pete Rose, the ban is lifted, and I will tell you why. Major League Baseball and Jane Clark, yes, Jane Clark, who's in charge of the Hall of Fame committee, are the dumbest people on the planet. We'll get into that and so much more. Of course, the NFL schedule leaks happened. Get into all the schedules. The New York Giants, boy, they got a magic potion of disaster with their schedule this year. We'll discuss that. And we'll get into the NHL playoffs a little bit. The Edmonton Oilers moving on last night, going back to the conference finals. But, of course, we begin and big series coming up this weekend between the Mets and the Yankees. I'll tell you what Juan Soto said that can finally put the Yankee fan narrative to rest. And they can stop overthinking.
Here we go. Of course.
No, they can stop overthinking the narrative and the situation. But we begin in the NBA.
Comments too.
And of course, call us 631-672-3108. Of course, you can always comment on YouTube and everything like that. But we begin in the NBA playoffs. The Minnesota Timberwolves and the Indiana Pacers have moved on. They await their opponents. And tonight we have Game 6 between the Denver Nuggets and the Oklahoma City Thunder, of course, but we begin with the story that everybody's talking about, and that has been a lot happening, and it's the New York Knicks and the Boston Celtics and the Jayson Tatum injury. He'll be out for all of next season as well. And everybody assumed last night, and I was finally being positive. I was happy. I said, they got this. They were undefeated on the road. The Celtics just lost their best player for the rest of the year. This is theirs for the taking. This is great. We're going to move on. We're going to play the Pacers. That's going to be a pain in the butt. I know that.
Wow.
Then I watched last night unfold. And even after the loss last night, I sat there and I said, I'm still confident they're going to win game 6. And then this morning I woke up and I said, I'm still confident they're going to win game 6. I said, let me go back and watch the highlights of last night's game just for, nook and cranny-ish kind of. And I'm watching the highlights and I'm saying to myself, I don't know if they're going to win tomorrow. I don't know if they're going to win this game tomorrow. One, they've had a problem for years closing out at games at Madison Square Garden. That's number one. Number two, I'm watching these. I hate. You all know this. I hate the zone defense that Tibbs runs. I can't stand it. They do the quick rotation. They do the switch off of the body. And it takes a second and a half for a Derek White or a Jaylen Brown or a Hauser or a Pritchard or a Holiday or Horford, anybody to get it going. Because I'm watching that, I watched the highlights and I'm watching even the first quarter. And it was crazy. They got to a 9-point lead. I'm like, okay, cool. They're starting to do this. This is great. But then all of a sudden, Jalen Brunson is guarding Derek White. Fine, whatever. We know how that's going to end, right? Like, we know that's going to go. But then Brunson says, let me do a quick switch off. And there's nobody near Brunson to help him. Hart and Anunoby, they're on there. And then White throws open for a 3 and he hits a 3. And I'm like, this is the problem. And Thibodeau is looking disgusted as usual. And here's the reality of the whole situation. I said at the beginning of the third quarter, they came out flat. The Celtics outscored them. I think it was 8-1 at one point. And I said I would call a timeout, especially after White hit the second 3 in the third quarter. I said, call a timeout, get everybody to reset. We got to get our heads back in this. It's starting to slip away a little bit. And we're going to be down 20 again. No. He lets it go on a 16-2 run. And then he calls the timeout. And at that point, the Knicks are down, 14? And they're, once again, chasing the game. And Anunoby was 1 of 12 last night. Bridges
They've
was
done that all series, though, Josh.
No, I understand that.
They've gone down, and then the run happens.
Yes, but you can't let it get to the point where it gets to a 16-2 run, and your starters are a -22 on the court, and you say, Anunoby's 1 of 12. Bridges is 13.
Who do they bring in?
I'm telling you who they should bring in. I've been saying it for weeks. Who they should bring in. They should be bringing in Shamet, who's a better defensive player than Cam Payne. Cam Payne comes in for 3 minutes, and he's gone. He does 3 fouls in 3 minutes, and he's out of the game because he's an idiot. Number one, Payne. I can't stand him. And DeLon Wright, who's an excellent defensive veteran guard. He's 6'5". Put size on Derek White. That's what they need to do. No, let me just go to Cam Payne for 2 minutes and then be done with it for the game. Why does he play?
Josh,
there's no point.
The entire year the Knicks play in Boston, the Knicks have not done a great job with the perimeter defense.
There's a reason for that.
But that's what I'm saying. It's been all year. Game 1, game 2.
So fix it.
After they were down by 20, that's when they decide to fix it. The defense comes alive. The shots go in.
You can't be down 20, 25 every game and chasing the game and saying this is okay. You can't be on a 16-2 run in the beginning of the third quarter. You're down 14, and then Brunson's got 4 fouls, and you say this is fine. And then I got Anthony Towns, who's getting blocked by Derek White, who's 6'2", and then he hugs him after for a foul, and you look at the references. I didn't do anything. Bro, every time you do something, you do something. Don't say you don't do anything.
Here's the thing. First off, you brought the officiating up a little bit. You brought up.
I'm not making excuses with the officiating. Listen, they were horrible last night. We know that, but you got to get through it.
Let's take a quick look at that, right? Jalen Brunson in the third quarter had how many fouls?
He had 5 fouls called on him. Yes, and they were three of those fouls should not have been called.
In the third quarter alone, 5 fouls in the third quarter.
But it didn't make a difference. It did not make a difference to the game. Because
did he foul out?
No. Yes, but here's the reality.
So that doesn't make a difference for the game?
No, because Towns wasn't giving you anything offensively. Bridges wasn't giving you anything offensively. And Anunoby wasn't. And
so Brunson fouling out in the third quarter doesn't change the game, apparently.
No, because they were down by 14 and nobody was shooting the ball. Here's the thing. When the Knicks made those comebacks, hold on. When the Knicks made those comebacks,
who was the catalyst?
Brunson was getting help. No, he was not. Game 1, it was Bridges. That's not true. Bridges was the catalyst
in the fourth
Bridges
quarter.
Got 17 points in game 1 in the fourth quarter. It was Bridges that helped him. And Anunoby was in spurts giving it in game 1. Game 2, Towns had a very good first half. He was helping. None of those guys were helping. Do you want to know who their best offensive player was yesterday? Josh Hart. And then I hear at the end of the game, we just didn't come out with the same energy and tenacity that they did. Why? You have a chance to move on.
I think I know why. All right, let's think about it.
Because they want to play at the Garden?
No, let's think about it, right?
I don't want to think about it. I'm disgusted.
Boston comes out. They have a chip on their shoulder, obviously. It's an elimination game for them. They just lost probably one of their franchise players, right? You're going to rally around that.
Of course you are.
Rally around that. You're at home in an elimination game. Of course you're going to come out swinging. And
you lost by 20-something men.
But that's what Boston did for the first time all series, except for game, I want to say 3. What did they do? They came out and they punched the Knicks right in the face. Literally, right? You had Jaylen Brown going after Josh Hart, vice versa. Pushing, shoving, a lot of, you're not bullying us around this game. And you know what? The Knicks, they didn't do anything about it, right? Hart tried. Hart went back and forth, but did he really go? Did the team rally around it? No.
Here's the thing.
What happened? Brunson had 5 fouls in the third quarter.
That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. They were already down by 14 in the fourth quarter. And here's the thing. Other than
nothing.
But other than Brunson, who was stepping up? Brunson needs help. Correct. He needs a guy. He didn't have that last night.
You just said Brunson fouling out did not change the game because Brunson wasn't doing anything. But now you say Brunson didn't have any help.
No, it did. Yeah, both are true. Brunson had nothing last night, and there was no help. They shot 32% last night.
Correct.
There was no help. Anunoby had, you can make the case, his worst game as a Knick, offensively and defensively. Bridges got a 3, the first 3-pointer he took, and he was done for the rest of the game, Bridges.
You know what
and Towns, I am getting tired of this freaking guy. All right? Because I got to watch Julius Randle go to the Western Conference Finals and dominate while Towns, is hugging a guy who's 8 inches smaller than him, and then he says it's not a foul. I've never seen a guy complain more and put his team on a 5-on-4 disadvantage than Karl Anthony Towns does.
LeBron's pretty good at that.
Brunson gets up and goes back on D, though.
No,
Towns stands there.
LeBron's good at that.
Well, yes. Yeah, well, here's the difference. LeBron can go back to full court and block somebody from behind. Towns looks like he when he's running, he looks like he just had to go take a crap somewhere because he's, constipated.
Do you remember? You know what happened last night that reminds me? Do you remember Jimmy Butler kind of making a face of, okay, it's not over, looking right at the camera like, okay, and then what happened? Playoff Jimmy was.
I know what you're gonna say. Brunson smiled and you waved at the camera. I know what you're gonna say. Yeah, I know.
Bingo. Guess what? That's Brunson's moment right there.
From your mouth to God's ears, you are so correct. Because let me tell you something. If they do lose this series, I don't care if James Dolan has to step in. Tom Thibodeau cannot be here next year, and Karl Anthony Towns needs to go fly a kite somewhere. Let him go be somewhere else.
You need an actual big man, like a Hartenstein type, to go play next to him.
If the NBA, or as Errol calls it, the LeBron League, right? He calls it the LeBron Association. If they didn't, for some reason, have this ridiculous rule where the Knicks, who, by the way, had enough money to give Hartenstein, but they would only give them a max about what they could spend on him, he would have came back. That's who the Knicks miss.
Correct.
The two best guys last night, and I'm going to give them shout-outs. Josh Hart coming back from where he came back from. He didn't miss a second after he got hit in the face. And Mitchell Robinson hitting those free throws.
Mm-hmm.
Good for him. I think he was he 6 for 6 last night from the free throw line? And then that's when Mazzulla said, I can't do this anymore.
Did you see he changed his form for the free throws?
That
man was practicing.
Mazzulla said, he's got it tonight. I can't do the sack and Mitch thing. But it didn't matter. It made no difference. It doesn't matter. If you're going to give Pritchard the rotation and the switch off, stop. Just play the man-to-man D. And don't walk away from your guy, especially if there's nobody behind you that's not near you. Brunson literally walked away, and White shot a 3. And I was like, what was that?
Well, if he got within a foot of him, it might be a foul.
You're probably right, because that was the only way you were stopping Derek White. To me, they better win tomorrow.
It was a tale of two halves, right?
They better play them. They should have been up by 12 at halftime. The Knicks. I said everybody was so hyped that they were tied at 59. I was like, this is terrible. Because I said Boston's hitting their threes tonight. So to me, they better win tomorrow. And
you're gonna have those games.
Josh Hart, and then they asked Thibodeau, what were you disappointed about? That we didn't give a full 48 minutes. Bro, that's on you, because every time they lose a game like this, all I do is hear they weren't prepared or have the energy to come out. What is Tibbs saying at the half to make them have these bad third quarters? What is he saying? Because whatever he's doing, it doesn't work.
You could tell though, right before half, the urgency wasn't there. Then the third quarter, like I said, that's when the next.
I would have liked from the interview Anunoby. They interviewed Bridges, Hart, and Brunson yesterday, and Towns. I wanted to hear Anunoby take some accountability last night because he was absolutely atrocious.
Game
I've been on the show time and time again. Speedy, when he's on, who do I compare Anunoby to every single time? Star player in the league. Who do I compare Anunoby to every time? When he's Kawhi Leonard. And this bleeper doesn't freaking show up. 1-12. It's ridiculous.
And how was he defensively? Because maybe he'll do something.
He was horrible too. But this is the problem. Put Shaman in the game. Let him get some run. And would we agree? You could disagree with me. Is Shaman a better player than Cameron Payne? Yes! Yes, he is. He's a better shooter. He's a better defender. He's a bigger player than Payne. That's number one. All those points. And put DeLon right. He's a veteran that could slow the game down. He's 6'5". Put him at the perimeter with McBride. And do that.
There was no mojo. There was no guys coming in and bringing a spark.
Stop. You're making excuses. Last night was garbage.
There was no spark.
It was garbage. And I'm pissed off about it. It was garbage.
So what do you think Game 6 happens?
What do I think? I'm on the fence.
All
I
right,
think
well,
I
you
gotta tell
hop
you,
off the
you
fence
know how I
and
think
time
it's gonna
over.
go? I think the first 5 minutes, it's going to tell you something. Because if the Celtics hit their threes in the first 5 minutes, I'm curious how the rest of the game goes.
I don't think
If
that matters.
Clark and Brown are hitting their threes, I'm nervous then. Because then I'm going to say this is happening all over again. They can't defend the perimeter once again. And they're still being asked about it. Bridges was asked about it yesterday. What has been the problem with your perimeter defense this year? He says, I wish I had an answer for you. You're a game away from the conference finals, and you don't have an answer as to why your perimeter defense is not good?
Oh, yeah, let me tell you the recipe of why. Then I got to
It's
tell you the recipe of
horrible.
why. You know what? I think you're wrong. I think it's the third quarter,
I'm going to have a heart attack tonight. Tonight's the
fourth
night.
quarter.
I'm gonna have to
Really,
put it
right?
on.
I don't care what happens the
I don't
first
ever
three
get
quarters.
this pissed. I'm pissed.
Because you know what's going to happen, Josh? The Knicks are going to get down by like 20 in Game 6.
Oh,
You're gonna
here
be,
we
oh, it's over. Here it goes.
Yeah,
And they're
let's do
gonna
that again. Let's play down. Let's play down by 20 again. Let's do that again.
How they
That's,
win.
that's gonna go. Oh my God, you can't do it like this because the reality of the situation is this: the way they played the zone D against Detroit was fine because they had Schroeder and oh God, who was the guy that had a big freaking mouth that said something about MSG or whatever it was? The guy that got the free agent they got, the bench player. Who was their role player that came off the sixth man?
Tobias Harris.
No, he was off the bench. He had a big mouth. He said like talked a lot of trash. He
On
was on
Detroit?
Cleveland. Yeah, on Detroit. The one who lost the ball on the last pass of the game with the
Malik Beasley?
Malik Beasley. Thank you.
Beasley, that's right.
Yeah, those are the only two guys that scare you. But they are not a 3-point shooting. You can't do the rotation switch against these guys. You can't do it. It's not going to work. And if you get White and Brown and Hauser and Pritchard in a flow, they're not going to miss. They will not miss. You're going to say game 1 and 2. Oh, yeah, let me tell you something. That was as the ball movement also stopped in that game for Boston. Not yesterday. Yesterday was the best ball movement I saw from them in this whole series.
Yes, because you didn't have Tatum there.
It was incredible.
So guess what?
Pass, bang, shooting it. Everybody, Pritchard's wide open in the corner. Give it to him again. Boom. And then this is the kicker. This is the kicker. Luke Cornett
Former
had
Nick.
7 blocks yesterday.
Guess what,
That
Josh?
is the riser.
That's the first game the Knicks played Boston without Jayson Tatum. Was it not? At least this year.
Yeah, and they look good. They look great.
So guess what? The Knicks now, they have a little bit of scouting. They have a little bit of game report, how Boston plays without Tatum.
You know what the problem is? The problem is Thibodeau. Because he's going to take the scouting and he's not going to change anything. He's not going to change a thing. He's going to keep the system the way it is, and he's going to lean on Brunson, and he's going to lean on Towns, and he's going to pray to the gods that either OG or Bridges show up tomorrow. That's what he's going to do.
And Hart's going to show up. One of them will.
I'm telling you this right now. I wish Josh Hart is such a good 3-point shooter this year, and he doesn't do it enough because every time he gets the ball, he has his back turned to the basket looking to pass the ball. And it drives me nuts.
He knows his role. That's his role.
If you have the hot hand, just shoot the ball. If
He
you're
takes
hot
it
and you
when
can't
he
miss,
needs it.
don't worry about it.
He does. He's smart with it.
Okay?
Brunson knows how to feed him that way. But guess what? Hart's role is to let me set the pick, let me get the plays developed, let me get things going for you. That's his role. He's
I don't
good
care
at
what
his
he
role.
Change the rule. Change the role.
You're right, because you're one game away from moving on to the conference championship.
Ananobi
Let's
sucks.
change it all now.
Sucks, and Brunson's going to get fouled out, and Towns sucks. Somebody's got to step up and do
Brunson
something.
is not going to foul. That's one of those fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Won't happen again to Brunson.
We have an idea of who the referee is tomorrow? Well, I'll tell you what, if they lose tomorrow, they're not winning the series.
All right, Jeff, I'm so glad that you asked me my opinion of Game 6 here.
You can answer it. It's an open
I'm
floor.
gonna.
It's an open floor. Listen,
Thank you.
you know, Speedy's never seen me angry like this. That pissed me off. Like I wasn't even upset. I was just I was actually okay when they lost. It was watching the game again on this morning is what pissed me off because I'm not even a coach.
Speedy,
And
it makes sense now. It makes sense. I thought they were gonna win Game 6 last night. I thought it this morning, and then I didn't. It's because he rewatched the game.
Yeah, because I could see the structure of how it was unfolding. I'm like, oh my God, why would they do that? Why would they do this? Why did this happen? What are they doing? Why is the ball not moving? Why is it getting stagnant? Why is Towns just standing there like a lump on a log? I don't get it. Why does Anunoby have this puss on his face like he's disinterested? Why is all this happening now?
How loud is MSG gonna be Friday night when the Knicks?
Well, it's going to be, I mean, you're going to have between that, and I'm curious how the game for the Mets-Yankees are tomorrow, what the crowd is, but we'll get to that after. But you think Game 6, what do you think is going to happen? Clearly, I can see which way you're leaning. You're going to lean the way Arrow's leaning, and Speedy's leaning, and everybody that I've talked to is
all
leaning.
The fans that are in MSG. Okay. All right. So, Josh, let me break this down real quick. Before the series, you said Knicks are either going to get swept or lose 4-1.
I said Knicks will lose in 5.
Okay. 4-1. Second, now all of a sudden Knicks win the first 2. They're going to get swept after this. They're going to lose after this.
I had said no.
They're still going to lose the series.
I said
Knicks win a pivotal.
I didn't say they were going to lose the series. I said I am on the fence because I've seen how they play at home. That's the problem. They let up at home.
If you lean backwards, are you on the Knicks side? If you lean forward, are you on the Boston side?
Such a dad.
Just curious. But anyway, listen. You knew that Boston was going to come out with that tenacity. Again, you just lost Tatum. You're on your home court in an elimination game. If Boston folded up like that, that's not their DNA. Of course they're going to fight. They're going to give you everything that you can for it. I applaud them. Good job. Right? The Knicks just got punched in the mouth. And what's one thing the Knicks have been very good this season, let alone the playoffs?
Coming back.
When you get punched in the mouth, how do they respond, Josh? We saw it in the Detroit series. They got punched after every loss. Did the Knicks lose 2 in a row to Detroit? No.
Detroit's very different than Boston, my friend.
The game after, though, they responded much differently. That make you wonder, why couldn't you play like this the entire series? Well, I don't see that changing because it's Boston, especially without Tatum. Knicks going to be fired up, home against Boston. They just got punched in the face. They know Tatum is out. They know their back is against the wall. The Knicks are going to come out hungrier. Do I see them getting down by double digits?
They shouldn't against this
Absolutely, team. I see that happening. But do I see them playing a full 48 this time compared to last game, like Tibbs mentioned? Absolutely. They're going to play a full 48. And when the game is over and the confetti flies down,
oh my God,
I'll see you in Indiana.
Well, no, they would be at MSG again for game 1. But yes, I understand your point.
Game 3, game 4, they're going to be in Indiana, right?
Yes. I will lean the Knicks win tomorrow. It's gonna be difficult.
Don't let me convince you.
Everything is agita. They can never make something simple. It's like the Rangers. When the Rangers are always in the playoffs, they can never just make it simple. Every series got to be a 7-game series, 6-game series, 7-game series. When you're light years better than the talent that's on the ice, it makes no sense. Why does this happen? Everything is a pain in the ass. At least last year for the Mets, the Milwaukee series was tough, but they wiped out Philly. That was nice. That was wonderful. They wiped the floor with the Phillies. That was great. It's same thing with the Yankees. They wiped the floor with the Royals. It was nice. It was great. But then, I know that, even in the ALCS, the Yankees won in 5 games, but every game against Cleveland was, for some reason, a tight game, and it made no sense. You're light years better than the talent on the other dugout. You should be demolishing that team. So they'll win tomorrow. They're gonna make it a pain. They're gonna be annoying, Because I'm telling you this right now, if they don't win tomorrow, it's over.
Well,
It is
Josh,
over.
here's some pros and cons of Indiana moving on already. Right? Obviously, a big con
I
for
can't worry about Indiana.
for either team. The next round of the playoffs, right? Indiana rested, right? Guys who had little bumps and bruises rested. The pro is, you know what, not playing the game level for a couple of days like that. You hope throws off some of the rhythm and the shooting. So that's going to be something to watch for in the next series. But you're right, Josh. We need to get through this series first. Also, does it bug you? You touched upon it a little bit. Does it bug you that Minnesota is in the conference finals already?
No, I mean they
You
earned
know,
it.
the team that you just made the trade for.
Yeah, they earned it. Yeah, they earned it. Yeah, they earned it. I mean, Towns got there last year too with Minnesota. I guess it's more Anthony Edwards, but Julius Randle's been great this postseason.
DiVincenzo.
He's been really good this postseason. Hardenstein's been okay, been mediocre this postseason. But we'll see about tomorrow. I know the Garden's going to be crazy. The game's at 8:00, which I thank God it's a Friday night. They're doing it at 8:00. I love these 7:00 starts. 7:00's like legit. Like this is what we got to do. Like, but
Especially when the Yankees on a West Coast trip.
wow. I mean, yeah. I mean, I watched the Mets try to sweep Pittsburgh yesterday, and for some reason, the umpires in that pouring saturation of rain let Clay Holmes pitch in that inning, which was ridiculous. But nevertheless,
Oh, are we transitioning to baseball? That's a good transition. I like it.
well, yeah. I mean, and I'm very curious about how it's going to be tomorrow night in the Bronx because
What happens tomorrow in the Bronx?
the Mets are playing the Yankees. It's Juan Soto's return, and it's going to be interesting because I'm curious about the crowd only because
It'd be a mixed crowd, no?
it's not even that. I don't know how many people are gonna go to this game now. I because the Knicks are playing at the same time. It's gonna be very, very difficult to be able to read really like who's going to the game tomorrow, like who's showing up. Like tomorrow, the tickets for tomorrow's game. Like I know right now, like the cheapest ticket right now is like $130, but like if you go to what's Saturday's game? See, you look at the Mets are doing good this year. That's why these tickets are expensive. That's why these tickets are expensive, like $100 a game. But even so, it's not even that bad. Mets Yankees $100, but the return of Juan Soto tomorrow, and John Heyman interviewed Soto today, and this is where I have said I want to, I'm going to put the narrative to bed. Soto said, and these are some of the quotes that he said, quote, "It's going to be 50,000 against one," which the Yankees said doesn't hold 50,000. That's number one. Number two, I actually think it's going to be more Met fans are have been going to the Yankee games. The 7 line's going to be there tomorrow. I think it's going to be more 65-35 is what I think it'll be.
In the Mets' favor?
No, Yankee favor. It'll be
Okay.
65-35. It could even be I wouldn't be shocked if it's 60-40. Go look at last year. A lot of the stadium at Yankee Stadium last year were Met fans. Half the stadium was Met fans. I wouldn't be shocked if it's 60-40 tomorrow. So with Soto say that, it's like he's already like giving up on the Met fans showing up. Because it's crazy because in the Houston series, he actually, when a lot of Met fans came to the Houston series, he was like, I was shocked at how many Met fans came. I'm like, he's just getting used to us. Like, we do have fans. We do exist. He also said, quote, "They're going to try to get on me. It's part of it. Whatever they do, they have a right to do it. I'm just going to go out there and do my stuff." And then he was asked, any second thoughts about signing with the Mets? Soto said instantly, no, no, no. We have an unbelievable team, and it's going to be a good team for a long time. I don't have any regrets at all with anything that I've decided to do. But he also said the Yankees were number 1 on the list. They just couldn't get a deal done. And I look at it in this perspective. This is not even me as the Met fan with Soto and everything like that. This is just not that way. this is what I will say. Here's the reality. And you're a Yankee fan, I'll get your perspective on it. He was there for 1 year. It
Mhm.
was never a guarantee that he was going to stay there. Now, I think, and it's not like he hit it and ran. You know what I mean? He gave the Yankees an opportunity. He negotiated with them. He said it. They were number one on the list. The reality is,
Money was.
the reality is he wanted to stay. But again, he did what every logical person in the world would do. That is to take the most money. And that's what he did. And to be honest with you, it's not like he went to a bad situation. The Mets I think are second in behind Detroit or tied with Detroit for the second best record in baseball. So, and the reality too is this: last season does not happen for the Yankees if not for Juan Soto. It doesn't.
That's
Juan
right.
Soto hit you the home run that puts you in the World Series. Juan Soto was second in the MVP voting last year. If Juan Soto doesn't come here, the Yankees are not anywhere near where they would have gone last year. That's the
Well,
reality of the whole situation.
I want to fix what you just said. If Juan Soto doesn't come here, how did Juan Soto get there though?
It was traded.
We can't discredit that. It's not like all of a sudden he signed a 1-year deal.
Yeah, and you know what also Juan Soto did? He also in that deal, you know what he also got? You got your Trent Grisham in that deal. So you're welcome. So think about that.
Phenomenal. Thanks.
Yeah. So the reality is, but I think this is where the Yankee fans are constantly saying he's a backstabber. He didn't believe in us. My sister-in-law has said about him, "Oh, you mean the jackass?" My mother-in-law always says the comment, "I don't care what Soto's doing," and everything like that. But meanwhile, I was watching making it, she's making fun of his face, and I'm just like, "You do care. You care. You do care. If you didn't care, you wouldn't be mocking him so much. You do care. This is the first time in the history of the Yankee organization that a star player left to go somewhere else. And the Yankee fan is not taking it well. They're in first place. They're having a good season. They are one of the favorites in the American League again. Okay. Soto did not disparage you on the way out. He didn't hate you on the way out. If not for him, and let me tell you something, he was good in the World Series last year against the Dodgers. It wasn't his fault that they lost the World Series. He's the least of their worries. Okay. He did nothing. And he didn't owe you anything. He didn't need. John Tavares was a different situation because he told the Islanders he wanted to stay there. Juan Soto said it from the moment it happened. I am not doing anything right now. I would love to stay a Yankee, but I'd also love to see my options that are out there. He made it known. And the Yankee fan, and I'm serious with this, every star player that the Yankees have ever had, going back history, Ruth, DiMaggio, Gehrig, Berra, Munson, Mattingly, Jeter, everybody, all A-Rod, all these guys.
Posada, Bernie,
Once they got
O'Neill.
well, I'm saying legends. Those guys were very good players. Let's relax.
Benny Agbayani.
Anybody who's never on the Mets, but Yankees, but I do love him. But he is the first player in the history of the franchise that left. And Yankee fans, not you, have not coped with it well. They have not. They have not.
Can I tell you how some realist Yankee fans are coping with it? For instance,
That's
You
fine.
trade-
but I
you
see it on
traded
Twitter.
for a guy who has 1 year left on his deal, which means after the season he will be a free agent. You know what they call that in baseball? He's a possible rental player.
That's what it was.
Okay. Did the Yankees? The Yankees, they fell short of their goal of winning a world championship, but guess what? They were in the dance. Okay. Off season comes. Juan Soto has a choice. He's going to be coveted by every single Major League Baseball team. Why? Because of his talent. 100%. He was up front and said, yes, I'm going to test the agency. As guess what? As he should. Aaron Judge got a chance to test free agency and everything too.
He did the right thing by testing.
Now, guess what? I do have to give Yankees brass and ownership a lot of credit.
Of course, they tried.
Because guess what? They were in waters that I'm sure were very uncomfortable. The contract offered started with a 7. That is unheard of for the Yankees to do, let alone for one player, right? They signed Juan Soto. They still had other needs and addresses that they would have had to do. But guess what? They were in the waters. Juan Soto took more money to go to the Mets, an extra year. Cool. Good for you. You've earned it, right? You made it this far in your career to get a chance to choose. Cool. Yankees weren't it. They pivoted. Bellinger, Goldschmidt, Max Fried. You know what? Think about it. With Cole going down, Max Fried needed to be a big offseason addition, and thankfully he has been.
Yeah.
The Yankee team without Max Fried this year would be a big trouble, right? So, again, you can say, oh, we would be such a better team if we had Juan Soto and these guys. Guess what? You weren't getting Juan Soto and these guys, right?
No.
And
Once
so
it was
the biggest need the Yankees have, needing Juan Soto or pitching, like Max Fried, for instance. The need clearly is Max Fried. It lies that way. Bellinger, cold streak right now. Guess what? We know what kind of player he is. And think about the trade for Cody Bellinger. It was Cody Poteet. So maybe you could have had Bellinger added to this team as well. Dominguez doesn't play then, right? Because you have Soto. Okay, fine. But Max Fried was the biggest thing. Because they didn't sign Juan Soto, they were able to sign Max Fried. Now, hypothetical. Say the Yankees sign another top-tier arm. Trade for a top-tier arm. Maybe, I don't know, we'll throw out names, Dylan Cease, Sandy Alcantara, and so on, right?
I mean, I don't know if you want Alcantara at this point.
As an example. But now, guess what? He signs again. You have Fried, Cole, and a third. That makes the Yankees more powerful and a better team than having Juan Soto playing right field and your pitching staff still being abysmal, and you can't make other moves.
I mean, I look at it, not to cut you off for a second. I understand what you're saying, and I get it. But then you also look at the Met perspective. The Mets don't have an ace. I mean, I guess Senga's an ace, but they don't have one. And they have the best ERA in baseball. And that's from the pitching lead that Cohen's built with Stearns and Jeremy Hefner. And
he fits well for the Mets.
Yeah.
There's no denying that. The same philosophy can't be said for the Yankees. They're not built that way. For the Yankees built, guess what? The only thing I didn't like in the offseason was that after you signed with the Mets, the Yankees didn't offer flowers or the booth or the little stuff like that. Guess what? Okay, sure. I guess it comes out. I guess little things like that are important. But guess what? Is it in the grand scheme of things when you have a contract in front of you?
Well, the truth of the matter is,
that's the part that I could have done without. I get it. Don't get me wrong. I get it. But come on.
No, but the truth of the matter is, it's when I look at the situation at hand when it comes to where he lies, Yankee fans are still very salty about it. They're always commenting on what he's doing. I'm like, guys, I feel like this weekend is going to be closure for everybody. It's going to be
You know what?
closure for everybody. Soto will be there in his Met uniform. He'll be there at Yankee Stadium. The Yankee fans will boo him for the weekend, and then that's it. And we can all move on.
You don't even
And-
have to go. You just say,
you know. But just so you
start saying
know,
Frank
just
Grisham.
so you know,
Tell
be
me.
very, very weary about booing him as much. Just be wary.
Oh, no,
Because
you know what's going to happen?
He's
You're
a
gonna
guy.
boo him.
If you boo him, he's the guy that's gonna.
He's going
he
yard.
He's not
You
even gonna
boo him,
say-
he's going yard.
He's not even gonna say a word. He's gonna pull a Carlos Delgado from 2008 and have 10 RBIs against the Yankees and be like,
Oh, you don't. Whether they boo him or not, you don't think he's
They're
going to have a
gonna
chip on his shoulder to have a good series?
But the thing is too is that and the fact that someone said it's gonna be 50, dude, the stadium is gonna be like 60-40 Yankee fans. There's gonna be a ton of Met fans in that building. Like, the center line's gonna be there. Like it's there's gonna be people there to support you. It's not you by yourself. It is not you on an island on your own. Yes, you'll be in right field, and I'm sure Yankee fans will do what they do. But
They boo their own guys the most too.
exactly, if I'm Soto, I just laugh it off, which he probably will.
They
That's-
booed Aaron Judge.
Yeah. So I mean, but
Listen,
we'll see what happens.
you know what? At the end of the day, no other storyline needs to be made. It's Mets Yankees, right?
I'm so sick of it. It's so dumb. Who
That's-
cares?
It's
a rivalry.
rivalry. Rivalry. week.
I find the Phillies and the Braves games so much more important than the Yankee games. I can care less.
And the Yankees feel the same way against Boston, against Baltimore, Tampa. Absolutely.
Exactly. So if the Yankees say, I don't care. Yippee skippy. Congratulations. I don't even care. I'm just worried about winning games. And that's it. Both teams are in first place.
You know who had the greatest point about it? And this is gonna be an eye roller for you, Josh. I'm warning you. I know it's gonna be.
Don't say
You know
Michael.
what the great point about the
Say
Mets
Michael
Yankees?
Don't say
No.
Michael.
I'm gonna say Derek Jeter. What did
Oh.
Derek Jeter?
Oh, you mean the guy that ruined the Marlins? That guy. Yes.
No. Yeah, Mets fans should say thank you. Mets fans should be saying thank you then.
Listen,
But
the Yankees are 25-18. The Mets are 20-16. They're both in first place. Just let it be a regular game, okay?
does Clay Holmes pitch in the series?
No, he does not. He pitched
Ah,
yesterday. He pitched yesterday.
that's a bummer. That's a bummer.
You should be thrilled. He's having an unbelievably good season.
Oh, absolutely. It's
know,
a
but-
bummer because you know what? All this talk about Juan Soto, no one's going to talk about Clay Holmes.
Well, listen, I'm sure Clay's not that upset about being overshadowed, but that's besides the point. Big
That's
news.
the real story.
Big news coming out of MLB this past week. Pete Rose, Shoeless Joe Jackson. The lift and the ban is done. And I will tell you this right now.
Wait, Josh, real quick. Let's explain to everybody though. This doesn't mean they're in the Hall of Fame.
No, it does not mean they're in the Hall of Fame. It means because they are deceased. Now that they are, not around anymore, that Rob Manfred said, hey, let's ban it and everything like that. Ban the lift. Now, MLB does not have a say on who gets into the Hall of Fame. Those are the writers. And this woman, Jane Clark, who runs the Hall of Fame, has already said, I think in 2027, they'll have a decision, which means she is assembling a committee. You know what that means, right? She's trying to find people that are going to say no on Pete Rose. And how many, listen, Pete Rose did his gambling and all that stuff. First off, he bet on his team to win. That's number one. Okay. Number two, they have his jersey. They have all of his paraphernalia in the Hall of Fame already. I've been there twice. Everything on him is in there. How many, let me tell you, in all seriousness, when are we going to figure out and decide that, hey, maybe MLB should change the policy on the voting situation because a lot of these writers and stuff like that are so get off my lawn type of people. And I understand he had the underage situation, Pete Rose with the girl and everything like that, which was he was never proven guilty. Was never proven guilty. But I mean, I'm trying. It sucks too. This is the same guy that when Pete Rose's son made his MLB debut, Major League Baseball made Pete Rose go buy his own ticket to go to watch his son play. They didn't get him a ticket. And to me, ridiculous. And I asked the question too is, how many racists are in the MLB Hall of Fame? How many? How many do you think racist people that are in the Hall of Fame? How many people do you think that did steroids are in the Hall of Fame? But Pete Rose can't get it because he gave on his own team. Explain that one. And explain to me why, he just, Eric, you say, I mean, because to me, I'm confuzzled by the whole situation.
You know what? It's this. The stats alone, he should be a Hall of Famer, right?
Let me
Stats
tell
alone.
you, let me tell you something.
Obviously, there's a lot of
Judge Kennesaw Mountain Landis, who was the first MLB commissioner, didn't let black players into Major League Baseball. But he's in the Hall of Fame, right? He's there. He's there. Okay? Ty Cobb, who hated everybody, hated all of them. He's in the Hall of Fame. Okay? So when is the line going to be drawn? Speedy, you seem when I said that.
I think Ty Cobb was accused of murder too.
He was accused of murder, reckless driving, overage drinking, having I'm not going to get to family show with underage girls, and he was a massive racist. He's in the Hall of Fame. Eric, you were saying?
And that's the thing. It's the extracurriculars, right? It's the on the field for your stats as a player, you're a Hall of Famer. But it's bigger than that. It's also the extracurriculars, as you see, right? Like, why do you think Mo or Jeter or Griffey, for instance, have some of the highest percentage of getting in, right? And votes of getting in? You didn't hear too much of their extracurriculars or anything. Right?
I understand, and that's fine. I don't care if Pete gets it in at 76%. I do not care. Harold freaking Baines is in the Hall of Fame. What are we doing?
But that's my point. Is it's the extracurriculars are part of it because the writers.
Not the extracurriculars. It's what you do on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is not the Hall of Second Fiddle. All right, this is not
Well,
the Hall.
Josh,
This is not the Hall of Mediocre letting Scott Rowland in. Okay, stop. Jeff Kent's not in the Hall of Fame because the media didn't like him. Speedy's laughing because this has been my Speedy loves when I talk about this. I've been on this for 5 years.
That might have been the last time he got this heated before today.
Why is he not in the? Why? Because he wasn't liked? Are you kidding me?
ladies and gentlemen, make sure you're tuning into this part.
Greatest hitters of all time.
This is not a you're better than that yet either.
He's
but
on the
listen
Hall.
to this.
And by the way, what's the girl's name that I said, Speedy, she's in charge of the Hall of Fame? What did I just say her name was before? All right, that's good. Good, Speedy. No, what was her name? I forgot her name.
You just said it.
I did say it. I forgot the name.
Come on.
You weren't listening. You don't know it, do you?
Jane
Thank
Clark.
you. Jane Clark,
There
who
you
probably
go.
had never watched a pitch in her life. She probably doesn't even know what a cleat is. Is going to be the one to decide who lets who in the Hall of Fame. You're going to let her make the choice. Love to get her on the show and figure her brain out. But Kennesaw Landis is in the Hall of Fame. He's one of the biggest racists on the planet. He's in the Hall of Fame. He's there. So you know what? If he did a bad thing, by the way, if he did bad, take his plaque out. Take it out. Ty Cobb, I don't care what he did off the field. Look what he did off the field. Take his plaque out. What those people did was a million times worse than what Pete Rose did. And it's not even close. It's not close. Racist, nasty people who tried to pause the game for others because they didn't like them. Doing steroids before games in the locker room, sticking needles up their buttocks before games because they felt we needed an advantage. Those are in the Hall of Fame. But people are like, no, really? David Ortiz? Really? Jeff Bagwell? Really?
Only one, right?
Oh,
But how many are not in the Hall of Fame because of it?
No.
How many are not in the Hall of Fame
I'm
because of
gonna
it?
tell you, really, you don't think Frank Thomas did steroids? Really? You ever see the size of his head?
All right, Barry Bonds has the most career home runs in baseball history.
Yeah, and guess what? If those guys are in the Hall of Fame, Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame.
Okay,
So should A-Rod.
but they're not. McGuire's, Sosa, same kind of ordeal. No, it's which way, come on. There's no consistency with it. It's all individual player.
They need to take those people out. If heroes who bet on his own team to win, and by the way, gambled as a manager, not as a player, as a manager, can't get in, it's the Hall of Mediocre. You're going to let Scott Rowland in. They're going to let Ryan Sandberg in over Jeff Kent, right, Speedy? That's what they're going to do. They're going to do that.
That's awesome.
Okay? They're going to let Harold Baines in the Hall of Fame in over Jeff Kent. Why? Because he wasn't nice to the media? Who cares? He's the greatest hitting second baseman of all time. And he's not in. It's a disgrace. It's disgusting. It's a joke. It's embarrassing. And this is why baseball gets hit with so much ridicule. The voting stature is not to where it should be.
Well, is it the same guys voting every single time, every single decade?
Yeah, but let me ask you this. Why is she, let me ask, and also, why is she taking 2 years to get a committee together to do this vote? You want to know why? Because she's finding people to say he's not in.
You think it's that or the opposite?
No.
You think it's the opposite?
100%. No. Oh, trust me. She can find people right now that will say he needs to go with that are on the committee. Easy. Easy. Very easy. Easy. I can find people on the committee that will say, will you let Pete Rose in? Yeah, sure. You're on. Easy. He's the hit king. You let him in.
I was thinking, you know what else is not so easy? The Giants' schedule.
Oh, yeah. Well,
that's not an easy one. They got some luck this year with that, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I know we're running on the time and everything like that. I know that. Like I said, we'll get more into the schedule leaks. I would think next week, because I know the guys got to get ready for their show. Speedy, bring it up tonight. Kennesaw Landis. See what reaction you got to that.
Kennesaw Landis.
Yep.
That does sound like the most 1920s baseball name.
First commissioner in MLB baseball who refused to let blacks play in baseball.
Kennesaw Mountain
Landis. There's a judge from Kentucky.
Yeah, so he is American jurist. Yeah, helped organize baseball for the Black Sox scandal. Oh, wonderful.
Yes, he did. He settled that down.
Yeah.
So we think.
And
meanwhile, Shoeless Joe Jackson could get into the Hall of Fame now.
Yeah, delayed the racial integration of baseball.
Yes, he did. Very much so.
Shortly later.
Yes, he did. He was a terrible human being.
Yep. Until he stepped down as a judge in 1922.
Thank goodness for that.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like a great Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, it's great. But he's there. He got a plaque and everything.
Kennesaw Mountain Landis. Yikes.
Josh, what else grinds your gear?
Well, the Knicks. This conversation for the Hall of Fame.
I've been very a breath of fresh air, positivity.
You've been since the Sports Loudmouth a while ago.
That's just I was in a bad mood. I don't know. I feel bad for Tommy because he's outside probably listening. He's like, I'm just trying to get some peace and quiet here.
Trying to get 2021 self.
He's hearing me scream about Kennesaw Mountain Landis. He's probably thinking, who's that person? Oh, now I know that person. That person's a jerk. That's what I want Tommy to come in with, right?
That person's an ass. Wrestling name.
Yeah, well, that person's an ass. That's what you say, okay? I could tell you, I could go up and down that Hall of Fame aisle. I could find 20 or 30 racist steroid users that should not be there.
And other players who should be?
Pete Rose. Also, each one didn't get 100% of the vote. That's why the voting is flawed and skewed. I know we said we were going to get to the NFL schedule leak. You could discuss on it a little bit, Eric, with the Giants and their debacle of a year that's going to happen. That should be fun.
We have long year again for the Giants.
Woohoo! You might see Jackson Dart though.
Good. Be terrible this year.
Yes. Give me a little. All right, let me see the snap count. That's it. That's it? Okay.
But that's great because that means terrible again. High draft pick, Arch Manning.
Oh my
Thanks,
God.
Manning.
When
They just drafted him. And one, there's first of all, every mock draft I'm seeing, he's not even in it. Between me and you, Texas is going to offer him more money probably to stay there than he would get as a first overall pick in the draft. Why would he leave? He's got it made right now.
You're right. Why would Cooper Flagg leave? You're right.
Oh, no, they get paid more in the NFL than they do in the NBA draft. So, yeah, I mean, Cooper Flagg also. Listen, NBA draft, as flawed as could be, they go to the Dallas Mavericks. Were those balls frozen? Frozen balls, right, Speedy?
they were.
No, those frozen whoppers. I tell you, man, frozen balls, Speedy. What do you think? What's your thought process on that theory?
They could definitely be frozen. I don't know if Nico Harrison's that tactical though.
It's amazing. Really.
You know what? I want Speedy to start it off tonight.
Well, you're better than that. Okay. Yeah, I'm in a bad mood. You started, Speedy.
I'll reference the video that has been posted on our Job on the Mouth YouTube about 5 minutes ago. The Anaheim Ducks, speaking of checkered past, hiring Joel Quenneville.
Oh, it's wonderful when I saw that.
Oh, yeah. Considering everything he's gone through for a young team, too. You would think a younger coach with Zegras, McTavish, Troy Terry, you would think a younger coach like that. But no, they go with Joel Quenneville and all the controversy there. So Anaheim Ducks, I thought you were a rising team, but clearly you're better than that.
Keep cameras in the locker room, ladies and gentlemen. I made the joke. I shouldn't have said that. That was bad.
All right, so you know what, Josh? You get to go next.
That was a bad joke. I made a bad joke. That wasn't nice. I'm sorry.
I'm choosing to ignore.
It's fine. I mean, I personally, there's a lot of you're better than that, but my personal takeaway is why does the NFL have to just kill everything that they have to do? They're going to kill college football. They're going to kill everything. Everything is going to destroy. The NBA is already dead with the Christmas Day, right? The Thanksgiving Day is their day. It's ridiculous how they've actually managed to flip games around. Was it they moved it to Fridays because Christmas is on a Friday? So let's put 3 games on a Friday. So I would say the NFL, you're better than that, but you never are. Doesn't make a difference. It's like the kill or be killed. That's the NFL just does both. They kill everything and they want it to be killed. Just killing every major sport. And by the way, quickly, Adam Silver, bro. Really? Your last 4 teams, the Spurs, the Sixers, the Mavericks, and then the Hornets found a way in there, and the Hornets went 4th. That's nice. Real nice. So now Nico Harrison looks like a genius because you know what the agreement was? Trey Luca will get you Cooper. Adam Silver, you're better than that. You're letting everybody just run the place. Doesn't matter.
You know what, Josh?
I'm in a very bad mood.
You know, I was going to maybe talk about the Hall of Fame. That's why you're better than that. But I think we touched upon that pretty well. Then I was like, well, maybe the Kentucky Derby that just happened I can do something with.
But with the horse racing, that's a disaster. What a disgrace that is.
And you know what? I was like, you know what? It's in the past. We'll let it go. Although I am a little disappointed that there's no marketing or no things around it to say, hey, this is upcoming. You know, I felt like all of a sudden it was just here. Nothing leading up to it. But anyway, I'm digressing. You know what really's got me going right now, Josh?
The Knicks defense?
I'm going to tell you. It is a New York thing.
Okay.
It's actually the Yankees were just on a West Coast trip, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, guess what? They're home. Good.
I know.
They have a couple series at home. And then guess what? They're back on the West Coast for the second time in 1 month. Granted, in
It's Major League
MLB season, you go across country twice the entire season. Why is it in the same month? Why? Why? You're talking about ratings. You're talking about all these things that you want to grow the game and stuff. Why are the Yankees going to the West Coast twice in May? How does that make sense? Come on. You're better than that.
Check out all of our great shows here, including one coming up here at 7:30 with Jabba and the Mouth with Errol and everybody. Of course, Speedy and Jabba and Tommy Scoops and Fish and everybody. All the gang and Nick Goody. It's going to be a great show. We'll see if Kennesaw Mountain Landis was going to be talked about tonight. Probably not.
Only in vain.
That's it. Just, well, it's a great show. Check out worldwidesportsradio.com, YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Job in the Mouth have their own TikTok and so much more. We'll be back here at 6 o'clock next Thursday. Great show. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be awesome. We cannot wait. Also, don't forget to check out 103.9 FM, the LI News Radio Network, which, of course, you have Errol Speedy on there for the Weekend Crunch. Any last words, Eric, before we sign off for the guys?
Do something good. I'm going to leave you with that. Just do something good.
Yes,
Pay it forward. Let's spread some positivity.
All right, you want me to say something? You want me to be positive? How about this? All right, I'm going to send a message to the guys. Here we go. It's going to be good. You ready? Okay, the bar is the Knicks perimeter defense. Do better than that. Is that fair? Is that good?
All
Is
right.
that fair? I mean, you can't be any worse than that. Actually, well, you could be. Then again, you'll be like Landry Shamet, not playing any minutes on the bench.
Get along right.
Yeah, don't even get me started. Well, everybody, this has been Game On Live on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Speedy, as always, thank you so much. To the gang, we're going to throw it to them now. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your sports. We'll talk to you next week. This has been Game On Live on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Take care and enjoy your sports.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.